Welcome to the second Year 8 theory video. During the course of this year, you'll be taking 3 different tests, one each term. The content that we'll be looking at is the muscular systems in the first term, skeletal systems in term 2, and the aerobic and anaerobic respiration in term 3. Today, we will be focusing on the skeletal system. Please use term 1's video to recap the muscular system. Your test will include questions from both topics in term 1 and term 2. You need to be aware of the following bones in the body which make up the skeleton, as seen on the left-hand side. You have the cranium, which is also known as the skull. Going downwards, you have the vertebrae, which is also known as the spine. Underneath that, you have the scapula. The scapula may be more commonly known as the shoulder blade. You also have the ribs that go down the side of your chest. In the middle of your chest, you have your sternum. In the upper bone of the arm, you have the humerus. In the lower half of the arm, so below the elbow, you have 2 bones. One is called the radius, one is called the ulna. If you can see the top tip, the ulna is underneath the radius. The 2 U's at the beginning should help you remember that. Roughly around the hip, you have your pelvis bone. Just below that, in the upper half of the leg, you have the femur. This is one of the most strongest bones in your body. Just by your knee, we have the patella bone. And underneath that, there are 2 bones that make up the lower leg, the tibia and the fibula. Again, if you look at the top tips, to remind you of it, the tibia is the thicker bone. Both words beginning with T should help you remember that. And right at the bottom, by our ankle, we have the talus bone.
There are 5 main functions of the skeletal system that you need to know. Functions means things that the skeletal system does for our body. The first one is movement. We have joints in our skeleton which allow movement. E.g. at the elbow, we have a joint that allows the arm to bend, which causes flexion and extension. Also, we have a knee joint that allows our leg to bend. The second function is support and protection. Certain bones in our body protect vital organs and stops us from getting seriously injured. For example, the cranium protects the brain when heading the ball in football. Another example is the ribs. The ribs protect a number of vital organs such as our heart and our lungs. The third function is the production of blood cells. Certain bones contain bone marrow, and this produces red and white blood cells. This is really important because red blood cells carry oxygen around the body, which helps us to exercise for a longer period of time. The fourth one is storage of minerals. Our bones store calcium in them, and calcium helps our bones to be stronger, and therefore we have less chance of breaking bones and getting injured. The fifth function is attachment of muscles. The bones provide surfaces for muscles to attach to. E.g. the bicep muscle, which you may remember from our first video, was in our arm. The bicep muscle attaches to the humerus bone, and that allows our muscles to contract and relax to allow movement to take place.
Moving on to joints. A joint is where 2 or more bones can meet. There are 4 main types of joint in our body. We have the pivot joint, which is located at the top of the neck. We have the ball and socket joint, which can be found at the hip and the shoulder. We have the hinge joint, which can be found at the elbow, the knee and the ankle. and we have the condyloid joint, which is found at the wrist. All joints are classified into one of those 4 sections due to the amount of movement that can be produced. Ball and socket joints allow the most amount of movement. Therefore, you have a greater range of movement at the shoulder than you would at the knee. For example, at the shoulder, you might be bowling in cricket. This shoulder allows you to rotate. However, at the hinge joint, we can only flex and extend, which essentially means bending and straightening the knee. It doesn't allow rotation.
That's the end of the second topic. Remember to revise for the test. You will need to come back and watch this video again for the tests in term 3. Specifically, you need to know names and locations of the bones shown in the diagram, the 4 different types of joint and examples for each type of joint, and the 5 functions of the skeletal system. Please feel free to use the link below to further revise on the topic. Good luck.